So they're always
Right.
behind. So like just to make that clear. But the point that I'm trying to make is what frustrates me that they copy me is because um, if they were to take that same time, energy, and effort to become original, they would never need to copy me because they'd find their own group of people that would make their business successful and they'd stop trying to replicate mine. So I
Yep.
say this because if you notice when I'm getting ready to say a phrase or say a thought, I never say, oh, this is something I came up with. It's something I learned from because I don't want to say I hate when people copy me and then rip off a sentence of somebody that I've heard something from. So, anyway, so I heard something to the effect of when you don't have any problems in your business, when everything is running smooth, you're actually losing. So at first it took me a while to understand that. And it was like, well, if you're not having mistakes and you're not having things happen, that means you're not trying new things. That means you're not growing. You're not actually learning,
100%.
right? So it's like, oh,
Yep.
I'm doing what I know and I only do what I know. And you're not willing to implement and try new things, you're actually losing.
That's right.
And again, you don't see it today, but in 3 to 6 months from now, you'll start to see your competitors catch up to you because you're not
It's that
winning.
cumulative effect again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to make a mistake. Actually look for them because that means you're trying new things, which means you're learning. And if I think the analogy he said was like water, right? Like moving water is clean, there's no smell. But when water is just stagnant and it's not moving, it gets nasty and it's disgusting. And it's because it's not moving, right? So if you're only
Yes.
doing the things that you know, then you're not moving, right? And then eventually what happens is that water is nasty,
You're
where
stinky.
exactly. So always be moving, always be learning, always be looking for mistakes and stop trying to rush to an end destination. Don't try to say, here I'm at the end goal. Just become the
Right.
person that you are being elevated by doing these different practices. And before you know it, the byproduct of being that type of person will award you the things that you're looking for.
One of our coaches from my season 8, Omar Gadri, the other day in our blocks Facebook group recommended a really good book called The Obstacle is the Way. It's a
Mm,
very short read, but that's like that's kind of like what you were just talking about. Like when you're trying new things, you run into things you haven't seen before. And in figuring out how to conquer those new things, that is where you make your impact. That is when you grow, when you become stronger, when you become more profitable. So I would, as Omar did, I'd recommend that book to people who think that they want to get to a place where they're perfect and they don't make mistakes anymore. That's the way that's the wrong way to think about it.
yeah, that's when you start losing.
Yeah. You don't know it yet though.
Nope.
You don't realize until it's too late that you're stagnant.
Yeah, you'll start noticing it when you're like, man, when did this person start doing this? When did this company start coming up? Why are people stop referring me? Why is this happening? And
Right.
then
That's right.
you're like, oh, let me go and do all the things that I did. And by then it's too late because the good things you do take longer than for when you see the bad things. The bad things might show up
Yeah.
in 3 to 6 months. The good things may
Right.
not show up for 9 to 12.
Right. So always, always, always don't let the fear of potentially making a mistake hold you back from trying something. If you make a
Yep.
mistake, it's fine. You just figured out one way that didn't work. But if you really want to do the thing, you'll figure out how to make it work. Or maybe you'll figure out that that thing can't work and you figure out something even better
Yep.
while you were trying to figure out the thing. You know, one of the things that I'm definitely learning from my business coach right now, Eileen Wilder, you know, gosh, where was I going with that? You know, can it as you're trying new things, you might think that what you come up with is amazing, but don't spend too much time being proud of yourself. Put it out there in the world and see if everybody else agrees with you. Because really the only thing that matters is what the market thinks of your new thing, your new idea. Right? So if you're spending 6 months in the lab making sure that this thing that you thought was awesome is perfect, you're wasting a lot of time. And it's
Yep.
like Wes was talking about at the blocks. Get your minimally viable product out there, your new thing that you're trying. It might not be the right thing, but you're not going to find out unless you try to put it out there first. And you'd rather find out by developing it in 6 weeks, putting it out there and getting feedback, and then iterating off of that than spending 6 months in the lab trying to figure it out just to put it out there and still find out that it doesn't work. Now
Yep.
you wasted 6 months instead of 6 weeks. So
Yep.
yeah, oh my gosh, good points. What else? We want to tell them anything else? I know we
Um,
could sit here and probably
yeah.
think of things
Um,
all day.
I mean, I would say the only other thing is don't give up so quick. Because if you remember, that's what I said one of my mistakes were. If this is something that is proven to work, that you know that's going to work, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, no matter what it is you're trying to do, if you never give up, like it is as cliche and as simple as this is going to sound, it's just a good remember or a reminder. If you never give up, you don't lose. The only person that loses is the one that says, this isn't for me anymore, and they jump to something else. So it doesn't matter if it takes you longer. It doesn't matter if it's taken you 10 years and you've seen other people it's taken 2 years. It doesn't
Right,
matter because
right.
you'll eventually get there if you don't give up. So don't
That's
get
right.
so caught up in how long it takes. Because again, if you get obsessed with the end destination, that's what makes you quit because you think you're behind or you're not as good. But imagine what 10 years of experience is going to do for you once you do take off versus the 2 years that it took somebody, because the likelihood of this being the scenario is very high. Maybe the person it took 2 years is because they had more money to spend on exposing it, but you
My
spent the
God.
10 years of putting in the actual work of doing it yourself. So you'll naturally know things that person never will.
Yeah.
So and I know that can turn into, some people will say like, oh, comparison is the thief of joy, but I don't really think so, because if you run your own race, then you never know where you actually rank. And if you're trying to bring something to the market, you have to know what
Right.
other people are doing. And it's only the thief
Yep.
of joy if you haven't worked on yourself internally enough. So like if you're hating on someone who is doing better than you or moving faster than you or whatever it is, what you're actually putting out into the universe or whatever you believe is you hate winning. And that's what's actually taking you longer, because every time you see someone winning, you start thinking negatively. So you don't have to say it out loud. You can just think it, because when you think it, the
Right.
thought creates
Right.
the feeling creates the action, and you start moving in the way of the person who thinks that way. So the one of
Yep.
the things that I learned a few years ago, if you want to put some science behind it, it's your RAS, it's your reticular activating system. It's the same concept of when you go and you buy that white car, and then now you see everybody's got the same white car as you, and you think, man, what? Everybody just fucking copying my white car? Like, I know it's pretty good, but none of you had it until I bought it. And that's not the case. You can Google it, and there's tons of information. It's your reticular activating system. Every single person has it, right? So what it is essentially is your filter, and it filters things out that are
Yes.
important to you, right? So that white
Yes.
car, when you bought it, you were very happy, you were proud. So it's important to you, and this is why you see it more.
Right.
So don't you want to see more people around you winning? Because when you're around more people that win, naturally you'll win more, right? Because then you learn
Yes.
from them instead of hating on them. So this
Yes.
all, I mean, there's so many different concepts and whatever, but they all collectively come together, right? So if
Yes.
you find out what's important to you, which is winning, and you find other people that are winning, instead of hating or trying to figure out, oh, they're only winning because of this, well, you're actually stunting your own growth. So if you see other people winning and you're like, man, I want to learn how to win at that level,
Yes.
you know? Well, now what you're putting out there, the doors will open because it's now become important to you. It goes in your
Yes.
RAS, and your RAS says,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to put you in front of the people, the opportunities, and the things to win at the level you're telling me you want to do this because it's important to you. That is literally how like powerful our brains are. So now
Yes.
knowing that you have that, if this is the first time whoever's listening has heard this concept, understand that you literally have this power in you. I mean, it's really a filter. Don't think of it all like weird, but you have this power within you, this ability to filter out what's important to you and what's not. So if winning,
Exactly.
helping people and developing and doing big things is important to you, don't get caught up by the fucking people who do nothing with their life that say,
Right.
"Oh, you should be more humble" and blah blah blah. Like, no, listen to that, because if you look up the definition of humble, it's thinking of yourself in less importance. You can literally Google that right now. We have to be careful with the words that we use because,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like, yes, you be humble in front of your God, right? You're humble in front of in
Right.
other things, but you also have to do something of significant impact. You have to win at a
Yeah.
big level in order
Yeah.
to be humble about something. You can't be losing and be humble. You can't do
Right.
both, right?